Unbelievable. We are Tottenham TV, back here for yet another Tottenham update to go through the last 24 hours of Tottenham news. Not much transfer speculation to talk about, but the first thing we're going to go into is these comments from Jack Pitbrook and Charlie Eccleshare. We brought to you yesterday, well, was it yesterday? The game a couple of days ago after Ange's press conference saying, you know, the foundations are fragile inside and outside of the club. And everyone's been trying to make of what those comments actually mean. And Jack Pitbrook has said that most aggravating of all to Ange Postecoglou was the sense that a few club staff, many of whom are Tottenham fans, had been relaxed about losing because of the title context, while the majority of club staff had been focusing on their work as normal. The prospect of losing to City had become a theme of jokes among the minority of staff for the last week, when one member of the support staff joked to Postecoglou that he should play a youth team against City. The manager was furious. Postecoglou's mood had deteriorated in recent weeks given the bad results, but this dynamic lit the fuse in him. The whole of the notion became of being happy to lose shocked him. One witness of the spat between Postecoglou and a fan, which had been circulating around social media, said that today came about because the suggestion from the supporter that Postecoglou was more passionate about the prospect of beating Man City than other opponents Spurs have faced. A comment which was understandably upset the manager, and the fan was ultimately ejected from the stadium. And Charlie Eccleshare says that Ange Postecoglou wants to completely change the culture of the group at Tottenham, which includes both staff and players. So apparently that is what he was alluding to in his press conference, and that is the kind of speculation that that's what we took from that comments as well yesterday.
Yeah, we speculated what he could mean by inside the club, because obviously I think from outside the club we can all kind of see what he was insinuating, what he was aiming his ire at, but when it came from inside the club, that was quite a peculiar comment. We speculated maybe it was staff members making jokes about the situation, and that literally seems to be what happened. And I think from that point of view, with that added context, Ange's comments and the fact he was so frustrated does make a bit more sense. And I think it kind of leads to why he was so frustrated after that Man City game. And maybe it was just a case of all these things and the fan interaction added into that during the game, and the fact that we did end up losing having played well. I think all that culminated in him just having to get a lot of things off his chest. And I think clearly those things boiled over in that press conference. I think when it comes to staff members and that kind of stuff, I think on another situation, like maybe if we were doing a bit better, like, you know, we weren't on a terrible run, it would have been taken differently from Ange. Maybe he would have seen the lighter side. But given the fact that the media were already making it a narrative, we're on a bad run, it looks like we're not going to be getting Champions League. And obviously, the fact that Ange had already been questioned about, what do you think of the fans not wanting to win, all that kind of stuff, and he thought it was ridiculous. The fact then you add into that you got people within your own club, you got staff members joking around the club about it, you got someone joking to him about, you maybe should play the youth team. I can understand, where he's probably thinking, look, we should all be solely focused on getting a win here. We should all have our minds completely on the job in hand, which is getting 3 points against the best team in the country. And all of this is not helping the situation. I'm sure he's frustrated by the fact that, fan sentiment has clearly seeped into the club and seeped into some of the staff or maybe even players, who knows, about, the sentiment that some people are okay with not winning this game. And he's very, very frustrated with that. And I can understand that completely.
Yeah, I agree. And there's one thing, the fans having that tribal mentality. Everyone knows what our feelings were before the game. We haven't hidden that from anyone. But there's another thing with club staff joking to the manager about it. And I do think that's a bit over the top, and I don't think these staff members should be joking to the manager about these kind of things. Obviously, the manager is going to want to win the game. Obviously, he's going to be very serious about winning the game. And obviously, he's going to get very annoyed about the suggestion coming from club staff saying that we don't want to win this game. I think it's completely two separate entities when it's coming from someone from the staff inside the club and coming from the fans that have that tribalistic view about not wanting Arsenal to win the title. I think that they should be kept separate, and I think they are separate. And I think when you're talking about club staff joking with Ange Postecoglou about it, that should never come about. It really shouldn't.
Of course, and the club should always be. Of course, the club should be wanting to win this game. Of course, when you're looking at the management staff and the people employed by this club to, play the sport and get prepared for this game, everyone should be solely focused on winning. And yes, there is noise, and we have to hold our hands up. We obviously have played our part in that and in the noise surrounding it in terms of Spurs, some fans not wanting to win this game to give Arsenal the title. But it's their job to ignore that and focus on the job in hand and not let that seep through. And the fact that it has seeped through and it did seem to affect some of the staff, whatever, leading up to this game is a problem. And that is something that Ange is understandably not happy about, and that does need to be rectified.
Yeah, and I think it will be rectified. It is, these situations, how often are they ever going to come about? It's like once in 20, 30, 40, however many years is ever going to come about. And the fact of the matter is, if Spurs keep growing the way they are and we start fighting for these kind of things, and these things should never come about.
Correct.
And look, I think that Spurs... I think that Ange Postecoglou should deal with this in the appropriate manner. And when he talks about change within and outside the club, I think this does have a big part to play. And the staff, some of them probably have been here for too long. Some of them, it's hard to change the mentality when you don't have massive change within the club with the playing staff, the staff members. And I think the fans will react accordingly to that.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, once we start competing for these big opportunities and big trophies, then of course all these thoughts of not winning game, it will be go to the back of your mind. No one's going to ever think that. And as you say, it was a very, very specific and weird circumstance. But I also think, as much as yes, it's symptomatic of a club not in the right place when you've got fans wanting the team to win. I also think there is a problem with the culture within the club when not everyone is solely focused on winning a game regardless of the circumstances, and they shouldn't be dictated by fans about what their job is. And I guess people will watch this and think, oh, is it hypocritical for you calling it out when you're one of the ones looking for not bothered about Tottenham not winning the game, not wanting Arsenal to win the league. I understand that sentiment, but you've got to understand that the club is completely separate from the fan base, and sometimes they're not aligned. And this is one of the places where the club and the fans probably weren't completely aligned on the situation, but doesn't mean that changes where the club should be and what their focus should be on.
Yeah, 100% spot on. And, this whole civil war happening within the fan base between the fans about should we want to win, should we not want to win, blah, blah, blah. Everyone should just move on from this. Like, it's causing too much division. There's no need for it right now. And I get some people are angry with the whole situation, but Ange has said it all season that he doesn't want to tell the fans how to feel. And that doesn't mean just from a certain viewpoint. That means everyone. And if you want to feel one way, that's completely fine. If someone else wants to feel one way, that's another completely separate matter, So just let people feel how they want to feel without getting personal with each other. I think that's the way to move forward from this situation. Let's talk about Heung-min Son. He's been making comments in an interview with Dan Kilpatrick, and he says we should understand it's the Gaffer's first year and he brought so much positivity and different football. I know it's early to say, but we've got to do so much better next season because I still believe he can bring so much success to this club. I'm all in. I'm loving the way he wants to play. It's the first time I've experienced it. Everybody, the club, the players, and also the fans, everybody has to step up because we have to be all together. He's definitely shown he can bring success to this football club. As players, we all wanted to do our best for the club. And for us, against Man City, we really didn't care about anything else. We only concentrated on what's best for us and for the team. The players, the staff, who had many sessions, so many games, so much travelling. We just wanted to do what's best for the team. We didn't want to do anything else. I'm also human. He's talking about the chance he missed. The keeper made a really good decision and made himself really big. But I take responsibility not to score that big chance for the team because the team was working really hard and trying to get a good result.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't expect him to say anything less as captain of the club and as representing the club. Of course, he's always going to try his best to win the game regardless of any circumstance, regardless of anyone saying anything different. Obviously, he didn't miss it on purpose. We all know that. The only thing I disagree with what he said is when he says he's human. Sonny ain't human.
He's superhuman.
He is a superstar. I absolutely love Sonny. And look, the fact that he's saying, look, everyone's all bought in on Ange. I'm glad he said him saying it. I mean, it's good to hear it, but unfortunately, I have to say, apart from the City game and maybe the Arsenal game, like recently, I haven't been seeing that on the pitch, to be honest. And I have seen heads drop, and I have seen people not putting in complete 100% that they could. So that is something, actions speak louder than words. I'm not doubting Sonny himself. I think Sonny always puts in 100% and he always tries his best on the pitch. I've just seen signs recently that hasn't always been the case with some of the defending I've seen recently. So I'm sure Sonny, when he's representing the club, he's always going to say the right things, but we need to see more of that on the pitch. Not from him personally, but from the team.
Yeah, as a collective, that's for sure. Well, that is your Tottenham update for today. Let me know in the comment section below your thoughts regarding all the news stories we brought you today. Like, subscribe and comment. And as always, come on you Spurs.